Thank you so much for taking time out to join us. Talk to us about the outcome of today's NTB auction. I know that was one thing that investors were looking forward to.
Yeah, thank you, Esther. Well, the result is not out yet on the NTB. However, activity this week has skewed towards the expectation of the NTB auction, which is today. The last two results, gave an indication that yields are continue to trend downward. The previous result came out at 8.6, and then the last one came out at 8.2. There's this speculation that it will go down a bit further down. So, by and large, market has generally been quiet as a result of expectation of the NTB auction today. On the bond side, the bond has lately been quiet. The bond calendar came out today. So the next bond auction is next week, Wednesday. We expect that the activities on the T-bill side so far had not really affected that of the bond. However, the yield on the bond side has slightly been coming down gradually. We expect that going into the bond auction next week, we expect that traders will trade cautiously.
Now, what would you say is behind or is driving the sentiment for the bond market? Why we're just not seeing that much action, even on the long end? I'm not sure if there's much action. Perhaps there's action on the longer end of the curve. What can you tell us?
Yeah, funny enough, the actions we've seen so far has been on the shorter end, which is the 2023 and 2024 bonds. We saw the, and that is because, a 3-year instrument, for example, trading at 9 levels, and then you look at the 1-year instrument on the T-bill side at, trading on the primary at the secondary market at below 8%. So, that obviously will give you an idea why people are twisting towards the short end of the bond market. However, the sentiment is what is driving the yield downward. Going into June, July, a lot of people were short on some of the instruments, especially the 35 and then 45. So that kind of like created a lot of panic, because when CBN and when DMO did not offer those securities at the auction, it created a lot of panic. However, if you look at this time last year, the yields were around below 5% levels, and I believe that is the sentiment that is driving why the yield is going down the way it's going down. But then, if you see the fundamentals, if you look at the market sentiment, market sentiment still tells you that, look, a lot of people believe that this yield will go up. This is because, if you look at government borrowing pattern, about 900 billion has just been assented to by the president, which was earlier approved by the National Assembly. It means that government, the deficit of 5 trillion, the government will still have to borrow, and then borrowing means that a lot of this borrowing will come from local market, and so what that means is that there will still be appetite for this yield to go up. However, the sentiment presently is what is affecting the yield downward.
Okay, I was going to talk about, the issue of debt servicing for the government. Last year, 2 years ago, this wasn't the case. We saw how the CBN came to change, things up at the market, and of course, with an eye on bringing down the government's debt service burden. But I guess that's not a hot conversation at this point, looking at the trends at the market. But let's move over to the FX market. We've seen the CBN, trying to keep things under control. We're seeing a slight accretion to the reserves, rate stable at the NAFEX and INE window. But we know that there is still that pressure here and there, especially at the INE window. What can you tell us in terms of how much progress we're making, and at what point we could all relax and say, yes, investors will get the dollar when they need it?
Okay, thank you very much. On the FX market, 2 weeks ago at the MPC meeting, the CBN governor made some announcements as regards BDC. So that's kind of like affected the market. We saw rate move as high as 520, 521 levels. However, with the structure put in place, using the deposit money bank to cushion in the effect of the announcement on BDC, we've seen that rate has dropped down slightly. Parallel market is currently trading around 509 levels, 510. I&E is trading around 411. So by and large, the confidence is beginning to come in. The initial panic is beginning to ease off. CBN is beginning to fund the bank more. For the PTAs, CBN presently has increased their volume, from 2 million to 4 million. So I believe that as long as the process and the mechanism is put in place as we go along, the confidence will start to come in and people will start getting results. And hopefully, as long as the foreign reserve is still robust, and then the oil price currently trading above $70 per barrel, and then that will give CBN more muscle to be able to defend the naira. So yeah, with this process in place, we see naira being a bit stable.